Hey friends, let's take a look at the progress I've made on my Altair-Duino 680 emulator. As I mentioned before in the previous video, on the bottom here we have a genuine Altair 680. On top here is my Altair 680 emulator based on the Arduino Do, and this is in an old Altair 680 case that I purchased off of eBay a while ago. So that's why it looks very similar to a genuine Altair 680. Let's turn it on here. I mentioned in the previous video that you can set the serial port and baud rate from the front panel and then hold down reset while you turn it on. So that's what I'm doing. And you can see on the video screen that we're starting the Altair 680 emulator with the monitor ROM loaded. And that is, you see the prompt there for the monitor ROM. I hit M, I can enter 000, and we can see what's in memory location 0. So one of the things I've changed is the previous version of the emulator, when it was running, it was in run mode, the LEDs would show the address being accessed and the data value at that address. That's not the actual behavior of an Altair 680. If you take a look at the Motorola 6800 CPU, you will see pins on the CPU that are A0 through A15 and D0 to D7. So what was actually shown on the original Altair 680 is the activity on those pins. And so that is what I'm doing now. Now, granted, there's not a genuine Motorola 6800 processor in here, but there is an emulation of that processor in the Arduino. So I'm just reflecting that activity on the LEDs now. So that's a more accurate blinking lights experience with my emulator. Another thing I've added, we're going to put it in halt mode. And if you raise, let's raise A0. So we're indicating a 1 on the address. And we press down deposit. On the original Altair 680, that had no function. When we lower deposit, what it's going to do, if you watch on the screen there, you can see it says Altair Basic loaded into RAM. And to launch it, just enter a jump to location 0 in the monitor prompt. If we raise up A1, so it's a 2, and do the same thing, press down deposit, which I've kind of identified that's the aux switch on here. Even though the Altair 680 didn't have one, I'm going to use it as that. And you can see the Altair Editor Assembler is loaded into RAM. That way it's instantly loaded. You don't have to load it from an external file. It's just ready to go immediately. So let's go back to 1 here, load basic. I'm going to hit reset and run, and we're back to the monitor prompt. If I enter a J for jump to address 0, you're going to see it launches basic. And right now, you can see right here on the LEDs, it's counting up. Well, that's because it's going through the memory locations, trying to determine the memory size. So now we're at the terminal width prompt. I'm just going to hit enter to accept the default of 72 characters. And we're going to accept sine, cosine, tangent. So there we go. We're in basic immediately without having to load anything. Also, one of the things I have added to the Altair 680 emulator, if we go into halt mode, and remember when we started up, we identified the serial port and the baud rate. Well, if I hold down reset, hold it down, and then press deposit down, you'll see on the screen, it says config saved. Now, the next time I power this up, it's going to use those settings. It's going to use that serial port, that baud rate, and that ROM that I had loaded at the beginning of this session. So there we go. Now you don't have to hold the switches up to use the serial port anymore. If you want to go back to the defaults and use the USB port at 9600 baud, leave all the switches down, hold down reset when you start it, and then you'll be back to the defaults, and then hold down reset and deposit, and you will save those as the power-up defaults when it comes on. Now in the code, it will automatically recognize if you have switches and LEDs connected If you don't, it will run in headless mode, which means you can still use the 680 monitor, you can still load BASIC or the editor assembler and still work with it, even if you don't have the switches and LEDs attached. One more thing I wanted to show is this little guy right here. Let's pan up and look at it. And you see it's a smaller version. Why did I make that? Ignore the fact that this front panel kind of looks purple. It was definitely gray on my computer monitor, but when I printed it out, it came out kind of purple. Why have I done this? Well, this case here, I'm going to have them made. Now, you might be familiar with my Altair 8800, the Altair-Duino Pro. That comes in a case that is very similar to the original Altair 8800 case, but it's fairly expensive. It adds quite a bit of cost to the kit. Well, I thought it would be nice to have a kit that is also affordable. For the Altair 8800, I have my experimenter. For the 680, this case that I'm going to have made for the 680 is going to be, almost equally as expensive as the Altair 8800 case. But this case that I've got this in, this is available on eBay. It's available on Amazon. I think I paid like $20 for this on Amazon. And so what I plan to do is to, sell the smaller circuit boards. Here's the smaller one. The switches, the components you need, the Arduino, and then you can later go get yourself one of these cases on Amazon, and boom, you've got your Altair 680 emulator in a case that looks similar. I mean, you can obviously see it's smaller than the 680 case. It's the coloring is a bit different, but it's similar enough so that it'd be a fun thing to have on your desk, and it wouldn't cost as much as having the replica case. So there we go. That's the latest update on my Altair-Duino 680. Thanks for watching.